more.
Hi guys, my name is Abby and today I will be teaching you how to stand up on a surfboard. Basically just the basics, first step. So the purpose of this speech, so by the end of this speech you guys will hopefully successfully be able to know how to pop up on a surfboard that is on the ground at the beach, so not in the water yet. And you're probably wondering, why do I even care to do this? Well, surfing is one of the most dangerous and interesting sports, and it's a big bucket list items for a lot of people. So it's pretty cool to say, oh, I think I can do this, and now don't have to waste your money going out of your way to find a instructor to teach you how to do something. So, and also maybe wondering too, like, oh, what do you know about surfing? I have had lots of personal experience. I've watched lots of videos, research, and I've had lessons myself to kind of get an overall understanding of the best way to pop up. So there are 4 steps. The first step is to completely down on the surfboard that's on the ground. The second step is to use your upper body to push yourself up. Third step is use either your left or right foot to pop up, and then the fourth step is surfer stance. So step 1, lay down on your stomach on the surfboard on the ground. So as you can see, the first picture shows what you're supposed to do. So you're literally just laying down on the surfboard. And SBX Surfboard says that the pop-up is the most basic and vital movement in surfing because it's performed every single time you go. If you mess up the pop-up, then there's no way you're actually going to be able to get up on the board. And Cam Hasman from Red Bull says the best way to position yourself to make sure you're laying down correctly is to make sure that the nose of the board is level and above the water. So basically you want your feet to be hanging off the end of the board. So when you're laying down, the board is like this instead of like this, because then you'll dive into the water when you do go in the water. And the next step is using your upper body to slowly raise yourself. So this is kind of the form that you're going to be in. And SBX Surfboard pros again say the best way to do this is to place your hands flat on the board, like the board shoulder width apart, and then you're going to arch your back and push up, and then you're going to leave your stomach and legs on the board, so it's just your arms coming up. And from my personal experience, the best timing to do this when you do go into the water is right after you're done paddling. So that's the second step. And then after the second step, you obviously need to get up on the board, and the way to do that is you're going to pop either your left or right foot up. And it's kind of hard to be oh, well, what foot am I supposed to put up? And for me, the best way to kind of do this, as if you're doing a cartwheel, what foot you naturally put first is the foot that you're going to be using to pop yourself up. And according to Red Bull again, you don't want to pop your foot up until you are 100% sure that the wave has caught you, because when you do go into the water and surf, if you pop up too early, you'll fall back and miss the wave. And then if you pop up too late, you're just going to fall off because you're not on the board correctly. And in order to kind of get a better understanding of the pop-up, I added the anatomy of the surfboard, because you do want to hold on to the rails of the board, which are the 2 side pieces, and you're going to put your foot up more towards the center of the board. And lastly, now that you're kind of basically standing up, you obviously need to actually stand up all the way and ride the wave. And that is step 4, which is jumping into the surfer stance. And Barefoot Surfer says that the surfer stance consists of 3 things. You want your both feet to be centered directly in the middle of the board, because if you're too far up, you'll fall off the front, and if you're too far back, you'll fall off the back. You want to make sure they're shoulder width apart too, so you're balanced, and then you want your knees to be bent, so your center of gravity is lower to the board. And once you do this, then basically you're pretty much all set. So that concludes the presentation. So I hope you guys have a better understanding now of how to pop up on a surfboard, and once you become confident practicing it on the beach, now you'll hopefully be able to go out and do it yourself. Thank you for your time. Do you guys have any questions? Yes.
How much harder is it to pop up in the water compared to on the beach?
It's a lot harder, so that the more practice you do on the beach and the more consistent you are, making sure you're popping up more fast, because it's not a super slow motion. It's all supposed to get put together at once when you're in the water. So I definitely practice a lot more before you go out, but you guys will get there.
How do you catch a wave?
Okay, so to catch a wave, you have to obviously be sitting on a board. You're kind of looking towards the wave. When you see the wave you want, I would start this one's going to braid nicely for me. When the wave's 10 feet away, you start paddling, and you keep paddling until you are 100% sure you are moving, and then you do the steps of the pop-up. Because if you do any of those steps when you're not actually on the wave, you'll be putting too much weight on the back of the board, and that like puts the brakes on, so the wave will pass, and you'll just be standing there. Yeah.
Since we're beginners, what kind of board do you recommend? Like, what would be the easiest option if we were about to go through this?
I would definitely recommend using a like longer board, like a long board that's at least like anywhere between 8 to 10 feet, and you just have a lot of foam. So there's a lot of foam boards that like most beginners use, but definitely something that has like more flotation in the water, because you don't want a super light board, or else you'll have a harder time standing up. But anyone else have any questions? No? Thank you, guys. Let's see how long it is.